Casey at Night will start in 30 seconds. And now, introducing Casey Carter.
For the cup, I got what you need, I got what you want, I got what you need, tell them giddy up, I got horses in the back, trunk in the front, exterior red and that inside buttercup, I got what you need, I got what you want, I got what you need, tell them giddy up.
Ladies and
Oh, sorry.
gentlemen, Casey Carter.
Okay, yeah, my sound effects don't work. What do I tell you people? If something's gonna go wrong, something's gonna go wrong. And for whatever reason, sound effects didn't want to come in when they were supposed to come in. It's okay. They worked eventually. Welcome. It's Wednesday. It's 34, and it's time for Casey at Night. With me, your host, Casey Carter. Listen, normally I don't give you the how was your day, Casey? My day was shitty introduction because I don't want to do that to y'all. I save that for BoobTube, right? But I'm gonna tell you something. Today I was spitting nails at my day job. I mean, it was insane the nonsense I had to deal with. And I'm ecstatic to be here now with you all because I'm like, I could have killed somebody. I could have committed murder earlier today. So I'm glad that if I had to have a guest today, that it was somebody like our guest today. And because, it's always nice to have somebody you can yuck and kiki and ha 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 ha. And so, without further ado, hey, Indigo my Tonya. Without further ado, today's guest.
Pass.
Oops, sorry, wrong thing. Wrong thing. Did I mention that today was kind of a weird day? Did I mention that? Because I'm here at the same time. I'm looking for my notes, which apparently I didn't print my notes. But today's guest is none other than Mickey Lynn. Apparently, she's the OG of Barely Legal. Barely Legal as a category in adult film. Now, I'm gonna just pop back to me for a second. If you don't know what the category is, you don't watch porn, because I fucking know what that category is. And honestly, okay. Here's the thing. Barely Legal, I can see why Barely Legal blew up the way it did, because it is one of those things where it caters to people's fetishes, people's kinks, and I should have gotten pictures from Mickey Lynn so that I could show you what she looked like at her barely legal age. She fits like she's the poster child, no lie, for Barely Legal. Um, Now, that being said, too, there's the flip side of that. That's like, why would you want to have sex with a child? That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to my guest tonight, Mickey Lynn. Hold on. Hey, girl, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing tonight? How's everybody out there doing?
Hopefully, everybody's doing good. Apparently, we might actually be on YouTube because Indigo Montoya is looks like they're looking at us on YouTube. But I don't know. Things are weird. It's a weird day.
You're having a day. You're having a day.
Mercury's in retrograde, and so that means like communication can be off, and communication has definitely it's been off. It's been off. But um, let us first start by talking about this barely legal category because I know I haven't seen all your photos, but I've seen a lot of your photos, and the barely legal Mickey Lynn looks like she ain't even got her driver's license yet. Like, let's talk
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
And like
Well,
more importantly, I want you to like talk about it from the context of what moment in time that was and where you were geographically located as it relates to that moment in time.
I was 21 years old when I did that magazine cover. And I was not barely legal, but since I was a younger looking gal, people thought I was under the age. So I had to show a lot of proof that I was of age because of the whole Tracy Lord thing. So I had to show like four IDs to make sure that I was okay. I
Well,
was in New Jersey when I lived
let me ask you real quick. You said you were 21. How old did you have to be?
You had to
You were
be 18. You had to
okay.
be 18 years old to be in the porn business.
Okay. All right.
So
So you
that's
were
the
saying
interesting
yes. Okay,
part.
so you were saying you were geographically located.
In the East Coast. So I was an East Coast girl, and I would go out to the West Coast periodically, and that's how I got my shoots out there in California.
Okay, and so from what I know about you, and this is why I'm pulling out the whole point of where you were located, you came up in the Times Square porn era. Not everybody knows what that is. Not everybody in porn today is necessarily old enough to know what that experience was like. Talk about being in porn in New York City, specifically Times Square.
Well, it was different. It was more taboo.
Mm.
It was more personable. People were more. It wasn't like people were hiding in their houses. People were going out and buying movies and going to peep shows because that's where I started from on 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. That's where I began this journey even before I got into the business. So compared to now, it was more in person. Like now you can find anything on the internet
Right.
and you don't
Right.
have to leave your house. Whereas it was more you would have to go out. So you would meet more people, bump into more people that way.
And what's a peep show? What is it? What is that experience like?
Well, it depends on the peep show.
Okay.
You had there's where you can go in and watch the movies. You put your little tokens in, which they still have those.
Hmm.
And then they put their now they think they put DVDs, but years ago it was film. They would run the film.
Hmm.
And then where I started was the peep shows, where the live girl would be in the one side of the glass and the client or the customer would be on the other. And then they would be putting their their big tokens that they have into the machine, and the curtain would go up and you would give it's kind of like webcamming in person. That's basically what
Okay.
it is. It's
Okay.
webcamming in person.
Okay.
Um, and that it's the same concept. The only thing is you get your money ahead of time. You don't got to wait for it to go through a company, and you make better money because nobody takes a cut out of it. Your
Oh,
tips. They only took money out of the machine. So whatever the machine made, I made 60% and they made 40%.
okay. Okay. And let like how does one decide um you wake up and say, think I want to do the peep show thing on 42nd Street. Like how do you make that decision or how do you find yourself on 42nd Street doing peep shows?
Well, well, it's kind of like everybody else who walks on 42nd Street. See, back in the, it's not the same now. You
No.
walk on 42nd Street and it's Disney here, Disney
Right.
there.
Right.
So it's different. Back when I went there, you had the pimps, the
Mhm.
prostitutes, the squeegees, everything that was out
Right.
on the street, it was more there.
Right.
So it's a totally different way of doing things. And I was 18 years old. Um, I was blonde, blue eyes, just walking through the city like most people were walking,
Mhm.
and seeing the lights because they had lights out, and we just decided to walk in. And I thought to we went in and we went and seen a show. We went and seen the thing go up, and I turned around and I said, I can do this. I want to try this.
Oh wow.
And I had no experience in the adult business. And that before I walked into that place, had no idea what the adult business was.
Okay.
I just went in there and I just saw all the girls and the lights. And I'm thinking, hey, I think I can do this. I'm going to do this. And I just went to them and went up and gave them my ID. And that's history. I wasn't even Mickey Lynn then. I was just a regular person that just wanted to go in and work and make some fast cash.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So I gotta ask because you're from Jersey, I'm from New York, and again I've referenced the location and the timing, because that's gonna be 40 years ago. 40 years ago is what from now? Like 1985, 83, right?
40 years. No, well, 40. Oh, God, you're really. So figure 30, I guess it's 40 years.
Yeah, because
You're asking me to do math?
yes, I am. Because it's 2025. So 20 years ago was 2005. 20 years from that would have been 1985. So we're
Yeah,
talking early to mid, um, early
80s.
to mid 80s. And so I remember walking that part of town. Times Square is always, has always, and will always be this spot where there are masses of people coming and going. Back then, there was actual vehicular traffic that
Mhm.
went through that area. Now they've made it more of a pedestrian area, for the tourists to walk around and everything. But Mickey Lynn referenced Disney wasn't there, so she's like, there were the theaters, but
Mhm.
it wasn't it
Mhm.
wasn't Disney.
Mhm.
And I can remember at that time period because I've got 6 years on Mickey Lynn, right? Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
And I remember walking through the city around that same time and seeing the pimps on the street, seeing the stores that were selling things and the movies and the whatever, and they were like the same way the theaters are all there now. Those places were all there, like they were, and they
Mhm.
weren't in some sleazy, dingy, nobody goes there spot. They were right there for
Mhm.
everybody to see. So I get it when you say you went in, saw a movie, and thought I could do it. There was nothing between you and the movies to stop you.
Mhm.
Also, Port Authority was down yonder, and
Yeah.
folks are getting picked up from Port Authority. Okay, so Port Authority is where the buses and the trains come in, and a
Yeah.
lot of folks get picked up at Port Authority. And
And don't go, and they don't see them anymore.
yeah, unless of course you go to the
But you
beach.
know what? I seen it because, and it's a sad thing because you don't have anybody protecting these individuals. And one thing that I do appreciate about that company,
Hmm.
people always say how Show World or these places are dirty and they pick up prostitutes and everything. But one thing they did is they took care of me.
Hmm.
Um, I remember working there and pimps coming in,
Hmm.
and the managers would tell me to go in and stay in there until they left.
Okay.
So what people don't realize is, they were protecting the girls that were in those establishments. It wasn't like everybody thought
Okay.
that because everybody's like, oh, you work like at first when my family found out, they're like, oh, you work on 42nd Street, you're this,
Hmm.
that, this. And I'm like, no, I'm not working on the street. I'm working in a building, number one.
Okay. Okay.
And the people that are around me, they're protecting me. You know, the girls, the management, whoever was there, they looked out for you. So when I look at girls and I watch shows and I see how they pick them up from that part authority,
Mm-hmm.
to see the vulnerability of those poor young girls that I had at that age, that I could have
Right.
very been one of those girls. I was
Right.
very fortunate that I had surrounded myself with people who
Okay.
actually cared about me.
Okay. That's interesting. Because
Mhm.
even for me, I just assumed that some of those girls were, the ones who got picked up at the bus stop or the bus depot, or that those places had the influence of some pimp who had their girls working there, and because that's what it appeared to be, right? Like at that time, that's what it appeared to be. Because there's another part of town that is that well at that back then that was the sleazy prostitute
Mhm.
area. Now that was a place called Hunts Point, and that everything you would think about someplace where prostitutes were at, that was Hunts Point. It was grimy, greasy, dark, and dank, and
And
every
it's still
area.
coming back now. It's actually coming back because I see things on TikTok and all these places, and I just feel for those girls that are out there that are
Yeah,
innocent, that are addicted to drugs,
yeah.
and they don't have people to. And that's why when people say to me about how those places, I mean, I'm not going to say not every one of them were like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
God knows what the other companies were doing.
Right,
I
right, right.
can't vouch for like there were some that were there. I don't know, maybe they have human trafficking victims in there, girls that are being
Mm-hmm.
forced. But Video World and Show World, the two places that I worked at, never tolerated that.
Okay. So how long were you at those places?
I was at Show World about 2 3 years, about a year, a year or two. I was there.
Okay. Okay. So, you and I are friends. I'm gonna ask you a question because I feel comfortable enough asking you because we're
Ask
friends.
me anything.
Um, as you mentioned, you were young, blonde, blue-eyed, and you were like the epitome of the bright blonde with the big blue eyes and the cute little innocent face. What was there that looked like me? Did you have women of color that also performed in these places?
Yeah, we did, and that was the good part about it. Was we had Marcella. She was one of the managers, and there were a whole bunch of girls that worked there. There were all races and types and everything that were in there. They did not. It was not black girls, Latinas, me. At that place, they didn't stereotype. It wasn't like going to Pure Platinum
Okay.
and going there and having to have a certain look.
Okay.
It wasn't stereotyped because it
Okay.
was a fantasy. Everybody had a different fantasy. I
Right.
mean, it's just two ways about it.
Okay. Because I
And
mean,
that
that's.
was
Go ahead.
and that was my first encounter
Mm-hmm.
ever in my life with a transgender person. So,
Ah.
yeah. So that's how diverse that place was. That
Okay.
was my first encounter with a transvest. At this point, they were called transvest,
Transvestites. Yes. Right. Right.
and
Right.
that was my first experience with
Interesting. Interesting.
that.
Because, of course, back then it was a very, 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 very expensive procedure. And a lot of folks literally had to leave the country to do it because they didn't have a lot of really good doctors in the
Hmm.
United States. So I remember that time period for, as you say, transvestites, aka transgender. It was,
Hmm.
yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big, big,
It
big, big, big,
was,
big deal. Big deal. Okay, so
but it
thank you
didn't
for
scare
answering.
me.
Thank you for answering the question about women of color because let's just be honest, porn is still one of those places where there's a disparity in women of color and non women of color in terms of the work and the what have you. You see a lot of women of color in the business. And like, if you go to Exotica or AVN or whatever, they're all there. But from, like any, say, business, some folks get paid more than others. And
Mhm.
so it's just, interesting to hear that where you were, the diversity was there.
And you have to remember when I did the movies back in the 90s, it was the same way.
Okay.
I worked with some amazing people. I mean, it was never where it was one-sided. I mean, I worked with Dominique Simone. I worked with a lot of Heather Hunter. I don't know if you Heather Hunter
Oh, I
is.
know who Heather Hunter is. Who doesn't know
She
who Heather Hunter
Yeah, Heather Hunter. I worked with Shawn Michaels, Mr. Marcus. I worked with them all.
is? Okay.
And it was and there was never a question about it.
Mm.
But what I just don't like is, and everybody will agree, is the form that they do some of these videos where they're degrading women. And I think that's what kind of hurts everything, is because you have these girls that are going into these videos and they're being not abused, but
Mhm.
they're being used a certain way, and I don't agree with that. I think it's very trashy, and maybe men like that. I don't know.
I'm sorry, excuse me. What do you mean?
Well, you have, which was interracial. I don't know if they still call it, because when you had the woke came in, we were told we weren't allowed to use that term. Are you okay? You're gonna choke on me? and and it was used for interracial. So now I notice that a lot of the black guys that are working with certain women, I don't know if it's the way they're doing it, but they're like abusing the women. So I don't know if that's giving them a bad name or how that's working. Are you okay? Uh-oh, she's dying on me. Well, hello folks. How are you doing tonight? I can't
Sorry.
hear you. Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, I had a, I got a tickle in my throat. I'm
I
literally
was gonna
here
take
drinking
over the
water,
show.
and then all of a sudden I got a tickle in my throat, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't make it stop. I can't make it stop.
I was
Okay.
gonna take over for you. Don't worry, I got your back.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. That's a very interesting comment though, because we're all adults in the room. I watch a lot of different genres of porn. Not because I necessarily they're my cup of tea, but if you are watching porn, sometimes stuff just pops up, and
Hmm.
I will say there are certain things I don't like to watch. Very specifically, things I don't like to watch. Race play is one of them. Anytime I ever see a video where it goes into that space, it's very uncomfortable, because I'm like, that is so not natural to say
And
the
that's what
things
I'm talking about. Yeah.
you're saying. And then the other thing, I will freely admit I'm a sadist, and I will freely admit I do like when things lean a little BDSM. I don't like it when it looks like a person is being abused, or is
Degraded.
aggressively, like overly aggressively. I I
It to me, it makes them look like they're being. There's one way of being a submissive person,
Mhm.
and I get that, because I've done everything in the business. I've done the bondage, and I understand there's a thing where with it's called like a cock hold or
Mhm.
whatever. I
Mhm.
understand that there's a submission position there, and that is not what concerns me. It's when they go a little extreme to that, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like they're and it's they're kind of being a dominant over the dominant. Does it
Right.
make sense to you?
I think I
I
understand what
just see
you're
too
saying.
many crazy things.
Yeah, no, and this is again why I'm being completely transparent and saying I watch a lot. I watch a lot. I think I'm gonna be if you've known me long enough, I love fetishes. I absolutely love fetishes. So I watch look at a lot of different categories, because I'm curious as to what even what when the categories pop up, what is the content in that category? I'm curious as to why the category, is um grandma grandma's or grandma's first BBC. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do we have
And
when you
that's
look at that?
normal. But
Right.
that's
Oh,
a normal thing.
yes. No, but I guess the point I'm making is this is how I find myself going down a rabbit hole, because it starts with that category, and then you see the other suggested categories that pop up, and the next thing you know, you're like, the fuck is going on? What are we
Like,
doing?
I'll give you an example, okay? I was going through my Twitter account and I came across this they were doing a 3 thing, okay? And it was like a BJ scene, and the girl, okay, had her head hanging over the bed like this.
Mm-hmm.
The other girl is there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's got a dildo and she's putting it in her mouth and she's making herself throw up, throwing up on this girl,
I
on
don't.
her face. Now she's laying backwards,
Right.
going in her nose, getting in her eyes. What is the call for that? What is the need for that?
Mm-mm.
That's what I mean by
Yeah.
degrading.
No, and trust you me when I say I've seen that same scenario in many versions. I remember the first time the first time I watched a video where a girl was, as you politely put it, giving a BJ, and literally gagged to the point of throwing up. And I was like, why do we have that on film?
Yeah,
Why do we have that on film?
exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole purpose is what was I gonna say to you? Is that you're becoming degrading on somebody, you know? Hi, how are you? Butterfly and Bear. I like that name. That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah. So that is a rabbit hole I could happily jump into and talk about all the bizarre things I've watched. But we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back and talk about some of the interesting things Mickey Lynn has done, and how many awards, how many Hall of Fames, how many, all of the stuff. So hold tight. We'll be right back.
Watch Casey Carter and her co-host, Carrie Anthony and Desiree, on Exotica TV's BoobTube, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on YouTube and Twitter at Exotica TV. Join the ladies each week as they talk about what's hot and what's not on TV, streaming, and in theaters. Don't miss them, NJ, the man behind the sound effects. Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Exotica TV. What could possibly go wrong?
All right, people. So listen up, listen up, listen up. Coming up this month, ASN Lifestyle Magazine Awards. And yes, that is me. That is me. And Sir Lorenzo, I will be hosting yet again. He will be the voice of the show. And listen, if you don't have your ticket, there is still time to get a ticket. If you haven't voted, too late. You can't vote anymore. But our guest today, Mickey Lynn, she's getting put into the Hall of Fame. We'll circle back on that in a second. But listen, this is one of the reasons why you need to go to this event. Mickey and I were just recently talking about the diversity. This year's awards, this year's number, the nominations, the amount of diversity in the awards is insane. And I don't even know all of these people who ultimately did get nominated, but for the number of people who I'm familiar with, I have to admit, I was very, very impressed with the new names that came up, the number of people. it is definitely an award show that I've seen grown in just the last few years that I've been affiliated with. This is 25. So in the last 3-4 years that I've been affiliated with it, I have seen it grown. I've seen it evolve. And listen, I'm gonna say this, and you'll only understand this if you know anything. Nothing is perfect. No award show in this industry can say that, there's no shenanigans, no whatever. We're not spending that kind of money for some of these award shows. But I will say this: Michael Ramos does everything he can to make it as fair as he can. And I'm gonna get off the soapbox because I shouldn't be on my soapbox. But anyway, we've got parties. Hold on, where's my stuff? We've got parties that you need to come to. We've got the after party masquerade ball on Saturday night. I was supposed to do this in a different order. Fuck, it's my show. I do it how I feel. And we've got the masquerade ball party. And then we have the white party. And the white party is Friday night. And with world famous DJ Red. The other one was DJ Illuminous. DJ Red, if I get this right, is either from California or Nevada. The other DJ is from, I think, the DC area, the DMV. It's just gonna be a fucking party. And more importantly, here's the one that if you don't do nothing, you gotta do this. Come smoke with me. And let me tell you something. We basically no, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to mess this up. So we made arrangements so that we could have this cigar session in the parking lot of the hotel. They were initially trying to have us all bunch up on the sidewalk, and we're like, nope, we want this little stretch of driveway. And they finally capitulated and let us have it, and we gonna have ourselves a good old time smoking on Friday just before the white party. So yeah, you need to come smoke with me. And I probably would have picked a different picture. I probably would have picked the picture that won me the magazine cover. But Michael loves this photo. So here we go. But anyway, I digress. So we're back here with Mickey Lynn. And Mickey Lynn in my mother calls her over 40 glasses. I never understood that. Never understood that. But these are my over 50 glasses. So Mickey Lynn, you
Casey
in
Carter.
the business how long exactly?
34 years.
And what kind of stuff have you done in this 34 years?
I've done everything. I've done peep shows. I've done movies, magazines. I've done I've done featured dancing. I've done dancing. I've done bachelor parties. I've done fetish. I've done lingerie store, and now production.
That's a lot of stuff. And did you manage all of that yourself? Did you have a manager? Did you work with companies? Like, how did you, because, again, where you started and where people start today, completely different.
Well, yeah, you got to remember when I was in New York City working at Show World, I met a lot of the famous women that would come to the shows, and they would be featured dancing. And yet again, Mickey Lynn, seeing the girls dancing, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I asked them how they did it, and they said they did the movies. And with that, I decided that I'm going to go. They gave me Jim South of World Modeling's phone number. And I went out there, drove out there, because at that time you didn't have pagers, or you didn't have cell phones or anything,
Right.
So we drove out there, and by the time I got out there, I was broke as can be. And that's where it started. I mean, the agents are different. I think there are only a couple reputable agencies out there that I will call agents. Okay. The others have no comparison to Jim South, not at all.
Okay. Okay.
I think and another thing is you don't have the master companies that are out there as well.
The master companies, what does that mean?
Master companies mean that like you have Warner Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
Paramount, Universal. Well, in the porn business in the 90s, you had those type of companies.
Oh, okay.
Like you had Vivid, you had Wicked still around, but you
Right.
had Vivid, VCA, you had certain companies that had the higher standards that everybody wanted to shoot with. Now you have Brazzers, you have Score Group is one. You have some of the companies that are out there, but they're not as many and as high caliber as the old ones were.
Ah. So the other thing I remember from adult films back in that day that okay. I remember the very first what I called porn that I remember were movies with um what was her name? Xavier Hollander, the happy hooker,
Okay.
right? So I remember being young and sneaking into my mom's room and watching those movies on a channel called Escapades. And
Okay.
all of those movies were on that channel. So you like the Happy Hooker, Lady Chatterley's Lover, like all of that. And in my mind, that's what porn looked like. They were these long form films that had a plot and all of that. Now, granted, they were hot and heavy for the day, but they weren't, the like it wasn't that. They were cinematic,
Mhm.
but they also weren't allowed on regular cable channels. They, like I said, they were on a very specific channel that only those kinds of movies could be shown on. And so I that's my memory from that time period of those kinds of things were not the poorly written, poorly acted things you see today. I can't tell you how many of these I'm watching and I'm like, y'all didn't even need to talk. Y'all should have just fucked. Because the talking was so bad. The whatever whoever wrote that dialogue for you should be shot. Should be ashamed of themselves.
Oh, well, and you did have those productions, but then you did have some really good productions. And I get a lot of fans who tell me, I'm getting tired of seeing these girls in a bed
Mm-hmm.
in a hotel room or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. So the whole sensuality of it is going out the door.
Right.
I remember doing I've shot in New York with Candida Royale, and she was more for the women part of it. She was
Mm-hmm.
more for the couples where the woman could watch the porn and be there with her husband and be able really, what couple is going to sit there and watch a girl getting gangbanged by 15 guys,
Right.
100 guys? What woman's going to want to do that? And that's the difference between the porn today and the porn back then.
Yeah.
Now, I was on some really good movie scenes. I used to get scripts about that big.
See, this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It
And
was an actual like script.
let me tell you something. They were strict with me because Mickey Lynn sometimes had to sit there and say the line over and over and over and over again. And people get mad at me when I'm shooting because I
Mm-hmm.
say, you got to do it this way. You got
Right.
to do it this way. But what they don't realize is that's the way I was taught in the
Right.
movie business is if you don't say the line the right way, we can't do it. Even if it isn't a porno movie,
Right. Right.
like,
There's a whole point to it.
there's a whole point. Now, if you go on YouTube, there's a movie that I did, and I didn't realize I had this much speaking. Okay. It was Debbie Does Dallas. And this guy came in and took a hour and a half movie with sex in it and took out all the sex and just left the dialogue in it.
Oh.
Turned it in from an hour and something minute video to just a PG movie with us talking. It was like 35 minutes long, 40 minutes long. And I didn't realize how many speaking parts I had in this movie because he shortened down the movie. I'm like, I'm an actor. I'm like, wow, I'm an actor. Because you don't think of these things
Right.
because it's so stretched out. I'm like, man,
Right,
I
right,
did
right, right.
good. Damn.
I could do this. I can get a real acting
Damn.
gig.
Damn, I spoke that much in a movie.
And you know, it's funny that you say that because like I said, my experience, I'm just so used to it being more, like I said, of a, the only way I can really make the distinction is more of a cinematic experience, right?
Mhm.
Um more Hollywood than not. More Hollywood than, hey, we're gonna shoot while we're at Exotica, right? Like so.
That is well, and you know what though, Casey? Back in the day when we went to do our trade shows, we never shot porn. We never did it. It was our time to just
Oh wow.
enjoy each other and the
Okay.
fans. Like
Okay.
we had friends where we would go out and get drunk, and you know Mickey Lynn when she gets drunk.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
okay. Me and my girlfriend, we were in the Lexor and we had a drink about way big. It was way
Okay.
big. And we shared this drink. And we were in the gondola. We were in this gondola.
Oh my
And
god.
now we're making out in the middle of this gondola. Joe and her husband are behind us. The kid that was doing the gondola, I thought he was as red as a tomato. Okay. And that's the worst we did. I mean, we didn't go
Okay.
to shoot. We didn't go to shoot anything. We just were talent. We were there with our
Okay.
friends. We were accepting our awards. We were doing our signings. We were meeting our friends. I don't understand this, but oh well.
And I'm gonna leave that alone for a second. We're gonna have our last little break, and we're gonna come back and talk about all of Mickey's awards. So hold
Ah.
on, y'all.
On track, now we gon' way up. Don't be used as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going on track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up.
Okay, so can I just for like 1 second? So that little particular promo clip, that uh, so I recently was scrolling through some stuff. I found the original clip that promo was based on. I forgot the fact that I slowed it down and changed it so that it had that little cartoon look to it, because the original, I'm like, oh, that's not as good as the promo I run. Wow, interesting. And shot that in my house myself.
Oh,
Yeah, that was in my house. Phone on a tripod and
oh.
shot that. Yeah, it's I don't know.
One of those moments you're just home doing
Yeah,
nothing.
I was just at home. And here's the thing too. I wasn't even shooting any content, cuz like there was a moment where I did um a lot of custom videos. I just was having a random moment and decided to just shoot this little video situation, and I probably spent an hour just doing different things, and then had no real idea what I was going to do with it. And I ultimately took the piece and cut it up into a bunch of little small segments and did things like this so I could have promos of my own self in my own
Hmm.
show. Haha.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. So, anywho, okay. So we're back to talk about Mickey Lynn and her awards. Now, I know I feel goofy asking you this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Like, do you know how many awards you've won over the years? Like, is there a number?
Well, I wasn't I've gotten the most important ones that
Okay.
I can say. I
Which are?
never Yes, that's the ones that I love the most.
Okay.
I was never up for any best girl or best sex scene because at the time it was different.
Hmm.
We had a different nominee committee and it was different.
Okay.
But I got into XRCO in 2018, followed up by AVN, and then Urban, and then I was very honored and happy because you were
Mhm.
2023's magazine cover of ASN magazine.
Ooh.
Okay. And I was so honored to be uh, the June issue of 2024. So I was very, very thankful because you got to remember I've been out of the business since I've not out of the business,
Right.
but I didn't think I had that much of a fan pull
Hmm.
for me to win that award. And I
Okay.
went there thinking, well, what the heck's the shot? If I win it, I win it. If the girl next, whoever's on the next box, the cover, they're gonna win it. But when I found out that I won that magazine cover, I was just like so honored because I thought to myself, Mickey Lynn, you're still relevant. You're still people love you. They still like your work, because you got to remember in the 90s, we all had a shelf life when we were women.
Hmm.
Okay. You were lucky to make it if you were past 30. Now you have everybody can be in there. And then I was honored into the Urban X Award because I went out to LA.
Okay.
And now I'm being honored for the same time as my magazine into ASN. So I'm part of that family that it's amazing. I mean, they're an amazing family. There's an amazing company. Um, we were talking before about how it's a fan based vote.
Hmm.
It is a true fan based vote
Hmm.
because I know because my fans tell me and they show me how many times they nominated me for. Okay. I had one fan that nominated me 560 times.
Oh wow.
He
Okay.
kept every email that ASN sent to him to show me, hey, Mickey Lynn, I voted you this many times.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm honored to be in other categories, like best female porn star. But I'm hoping that I can send off the torch to my next magazine person and my favorite person, Lorenzo August. Um,
Lorenzo. And
Lorenzo August.
I would love, I would love if you were able to do that because his photographer was a heck of a photographer.
I know. I wonder who that is. We were talking about that AVN. So, I mean, am I biased? Hell yeah, because he's my friend. I love him. And I think he should win it because
It's a heck of a cover.
it's an amazing cover, and that's just the way I feel. So as I said to Mickey Lynn, any Mickey Lynn fan that voted for Mickey Lynn's favorite porn star, I made sure
Yes,
that
she
they
did.
had Lorenzo.
Yes,
And
she
they
did.
said to me, they showed me, I voted. So I'm praying. And like I said, if I get best female porn star, I'll be happy. But I
But
just
what?
hope that,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead, hon.
I just hope that the person, that gets it, they're the best of everything because it's a fan based thing.
Yeah, it's a fan base thing. There is one award I know you are getting for sure. It's a lock, which is the Hall of Fame.
And
Um,
I am so honored to be part of the ASN Hall of Fame family. Um, they are, and I'm not just saying that because I know the owner and I know the hostess of the show. I'm not saying that, but I've gotten to know them and I, we're just family when we're all together. I mean, the last 2 years, the shows were a little off. But
we
this
made it
show's going to
work
be
though.
amazing.
Yep, we
We
made it.
got through it. We all had fun. We pulled it together. And that is what a family is about. That is what
We,
a family is about.
we
And I'm
definitely
hoping to put out my AVN blast for it this week so I can get everybody to know that that's where I've been trying to send out tickets because they need to go. It's in Orlando. So that's going to
right.
be
Oh
good.
yeah, I forgot to mention the Orlando part.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you for that. But yeah, it, it has definitely been an experience because I don't recall how you and I technically met. Um, but it has been an experience hanging out with you and the very crazy crew of people that I can't even say that because I think we literally if you if the dynamic of the group is really interesting because some of folks we all literally I guess I'm rambling and trying to figure out how to say this. We all sort of got together at the same time. It's not like we have long history with each other. We somehow connected with each other.
And I
And
think it was all through ASN because I remember first meeting you was one out of the after part, not the at one of the meet and greets at Exotica is where I
probably.
met you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, not probably, definitely, because I remember
Oh,
the first
definitely.
time I met you and Lorenzo. Okay,
Okay.
and and I remember going into hugging Lorenzo, and he looked at me like, and
Yeah.
I still went in for the hug, and he's like, and now from that on, we have our own little
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
we have our own little but I know my boundaries, but we have our own little like calling him while he's eating.
Yeah. It I was gonna say it's funny. To know Lorenzo is to know do not walk up on him uninvited. Do not do
And you
that.
know what's funny? Last week I was watching your I I was stalking you last week
Okay.
and I was watching your boob tube. So I call him on FaceTime and I go, look who I'm watching. I said, I'm watching Casey and I'm talking to Lorenzo on FaceTime.
Oh my
And he
goodness.
just went like this.
Yeah.
You know, the Lorenzo look.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Fun times. Fun times. All right, Mickey Lynn. Technically there's 6 minutes left. We haven't talked about what you're working on, what your next great project is. Let's get that in the next 5 minutes.
Okay, well, my next project is I've decided I was in part of Seika's documentary. She did a big documentary, and the gentleman, Tony Waters, who produced it, filmed it, came up to me and asked me if I was interested in doing a book and a documentary. And I told him, yeah, because I want to be able to tell the people in the vanilla world
Mm-hmm.
what Mickey Lynn is really like. Okay, I'm a
Yeah.
mother, I'm a daughter,
She's
I'm a
crazy as hell.
friend,
She's
and I'm
wild
a
as
sex
fuck.
symbol. Huh?
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What
Go
were
ahead.
you saying?
I said she's I said she's crazy as hell and wild as fuck. So
So I'm gonna do a documentary and a book, and it's gonna be amazing about my childhood. That I was not abused. I was just your regular girl that lived in New Jersey, got into the adult business, and now I'm here. So it'll be out in January, and I will be debuting it in Exotica Chicago.
and like what is the story that you're telling? Like you made the comment about that you weren't abused and so forth and so on. Like what is the angle that we're telling this story from?
Well, we're telling it that how you would never know what I did. And it's just telling a story about the business is not always a tragic story. It could be a happy one and not a happy one, but it could be a normal one. So I want people to be able to read this book and just simply say that we are human and we are people too. The only difference between me and the person that is sitting in their living room judging all of us, we do the same thing, but the only thing is we have the guts enough to do it on camera. That's what I always told people. I will sit there and I will not accept how people react to me. because I have respect for myself, and that's what I want to be put in the book.
All right. Does the book have a title yet, or are we still thinking?
Well, we're thinking, because I had to run this by Lorenzo because he's my voiceover. Okay.
Lord.
I'm thinking of calling it Mickey Lynn, uh, Porn Cutie of the '90s. We were gonna do Barely Legal.
Hmm.
We were gonna do Barely Legal, but we were thinking that's gonna be kind of hard to do because we want all people to be able to sit there and read the book.
Okay.
We don't want somebody to have to hide it in a book.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
trying to get permission from Hustler so I can use my Hustler Barely Legal cover on it.
Oh.
That way it would kind of simulate the Barely Legal, but
Right.
it wouldn't be
Right.
titled Barely Legal.
Right. Gotcha.
And that's what we're
Okay.
working on.
Okay.
So, and I'm hoping I would like to get I'm trying to get it okayed by ASN because I'm trying to get a hold of the lady Liz Flint because I
Mhm.
know her, but I just can't get a hold of her because she's touring.
Okay.
And I just need to get the okay from her
Right.
because as I'm very respectful to people's things. You know me.
Hmm.
I want to get the approval before I start saying something.
Right.
And I don't see why they wouldn't, because I was on the best of Barely Legal and I was on Barely Legal. So I don't think they'll have a problem with it, but we'll see what
but
happens.
but permission is definitely a good idea. So.
Well, no, I mean, that's just a respectable thing to do, you know? I mean, I was raised better than that. I don't just take consideration. I might be a wackadoo, but you never know what's coming out of Mickey Lynn's mouth.
This I know firsthand. Okay.
So I'll put on my
Over 40 glasses. Oh my god. Okay. I want to thank you for being on the show. I ask I here's the thing. I ask all my friends to do my show because it's just easier to ask friends than to ask strangers. And then I can ask the strangers because they've seen
Well,
me with
I'll
my
help
friends.
you. I'll pass the word around because you need to get more people on your show.
Oh yeah, I do. I do. Absolutely. And
You know,
and
Mickey Lynn.
And and I appreciate that because even when I had Erica on last week, we were talking about Stephanie Love. She's like, "Oh, yeah, Stephanie Love would do your show." I'm like, "Bet, yes, make it
Oh,
happen."
I love Erica. She's gonna be my PR. I just want to wait until I'm healed up because I know she's gonna put me to work.
Yeah,
Because she will put me to work,
yeah,
you
she
know.
gonna pimp
And
you
I
out
want to
when,
make sure she's gonna
but you
put me out. I
ready.
told you, put me out, baby. You put me out because I'm ready,
Yeah,
and
and
I want to be able to be on point. So she's
yeah,
saying to me, "Get healed up, Mickey Lynn,
right.
and then
Be
we'll
ready to
do
go.
it."
Hmm.
Yeah, but she's gonna
Yeah,
be my PR.
because I when I was asking her, what do you do for your clients? What kind of things does your business do? And she ran down like the list of. I'm like, see, and that's honestly what I would expect. So yeah, you're definitely gonna make sure you're ready to go.
And I watched your show last week with her, and you know, I love it when she helps people get awards
Yeah,
because we didn't have that back then. We didn't have somebody sitting there helping people get awards.
right.
And that was not heard of. I mean, we had agencies, but we never had PR people. The only
Okay.
PR people we had were the movie people. And you
Uh,
know, when I get up there and I see people that don't thank her and they're up there, it gets me very upset. I just want to go
well,
up there and smack her.
I mean, and because considering what she said that she does, like I liked when I was asking her about the folks, her clients that were nominated, and there's that moment where she's looking up, and you think because it's a natural thing to look up as you're thinking of something,
Mhm.
and she's like, I got it all here on the wall. I was like, oh, I love that even more. I love that even more. That it's there to constantly remind you this is who we're working for and this is what we're doing.
I
So,
don't know how she does it because people want me, people want me to open up an agency. They were like, Mickey
okay.
Lynn, you should open up an agency. And I looked at them and I said, hell no. I don't want to have to deal with women. So I have to say, as much as she does, like I even told Joe the other day, I'm like, I'm so excited working with Erica, but I don't know how she does it because
She's
women are not
hysterical.
easy to work with. Okay, I ran
Look,
a PTA.
Eric and I have only known each other a few years now. Like, no, like communicate with each other for a few years. Erica, Erica's one of those people. She's a New Yorker, even though she's an LA girl, but she's a New Yorker. She is one of those people. There's no in between with Erica. Erica loves you or she doesn't love you.
Or
And
she doesn't
Erica,
like you. I've seen that. I've
yeah,
seen her.
yeah.
Okay, I've seen her in action. So I am honored that. And another thing is, I Herschel Savage, who was a good friend of mine that I worked with, had introduced us to each
Mm,
other. And I was always hesitant. And, I just simply said, I'm going to go with it. So I've already all my stuff. So I just got to get healed and then I'll be out the door with her. But I mean,
well,
she'll be at ASN and she's my fellow Hall of Famer.
yes. I was gonna
And,
say I'm
we're going to party.
very excited for ASN and all the people, all the nominees who are going to come to the show, and just all the people and that whole experience. It's been really, really interesting over the last few years being a part of that. So yes, looking
And
forward to Orlando.
And there's one thing I have to say,
What you got to
because I
say?
know there's a lot of negativity about ASN, and there's a lot of haters out there who say that our awards are not worth anything. Let me tell you something. I have never been approached by anybody who said they did not like ASN. If they ever came up to me, because you know me, I wear my ASN shirts. I don't have one on because I got Mickey Lynn right now. But
Okay.
when I wear my ASN shirt, I walk around, I walk wherever I am. If they don't like it, I will put them in their place, because ASN has got amazing family. So I just want people to know that what you hear is always there's always another side of the story. So you need to get that out of your mouth. You need to wash your mouth out of that, because I'm getting tired of hearing people saying ASN this, ASN that. You don't know ASN. So get that out of your mouth. That's what I got to say to those haters. Calling them out.
Okie dokie. And I'm gonna just leave that right there with minute on Mickey Lynn, cause she done told you. She done told you, and I'm gonna tell you,
I told you, don't mess
I've
around with
seen
me.
I've seen Mickey Lynn in feisty mode. I don't fucks with it. I
Oh,
mind my
come
damn
on.
business. When Mickey Lynn gets to being feisty, I mind my business. And understand this, Casey is by no means a punk bitch, but when she get going, you're gonna have
We're
to let
both
her
there.
burn out. You're just gonna have to let it burn out, and you
You're
just
from New
go
York, I'm from Jersey. That's all we
right.
say.
That's what I'm
That's all
saying.
we
You just let it burn out, and then it'll be fine. She'll be good. All when she burns out, she'll be good,
got.
and we can go on and live our lives, and it'll all be fine. So anyway, I don't know who I have on the show next week. I'm gonna call somebody up and have them come on the show, because I'm trying to before ASN, I'm trying to grab people that are going to be affiliated with this year's award show. So it'll be a
This year's
surprise.
award show. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise. It'll be a surprise. But anywho, thank you, Mickey Lynn, for being
Mm,
on the show
my nail
tonight.
that's missing.
I
Goodbye,
see.
Lucky.
I see. And I want to thank all of you for watching live. I want to thank all of you who watched the replay. And you already know, we got BoobTube at 9 o'clock. So make sure you watch. And Jason, I didn't get a chance for you, Mickey Lynn, to say hi to Jason. Mickey Lynn, say hi to Jason for me.
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
Jason is a super fan. Jason shows up for Casey at Night. Jason shows up for BoobTube. Yeah. So, yay.
I'm
All
so
right, y'all.
happy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. All right, y'all. I will see you at 9, or I will see you next week.
Next week.
Mickey Lynn, thank you, honey.
Mwah.